You are listening to the Maple Footy Podcast, the unofficial football podcast of the North. I'm your host, Sam Little. Find me on socials at SamLittle44 and the podcast at Maple Footy Pod. And now there's nothing left to say except for sit back, enjoy, and welcome to the show.
Hello, yes, and welcome back to the Maple Footy Podcast. As we always say, you already know it's the unofficial football podcast of the North. And today, what we do most weeks is we talk about our Canadian boys who are out there making some noise. And that's, of course, exactly what we're doing. But first, I'm going to start off with two little stories coming out of Canadian football this week. The first one being the CPL has officially rebranded their logo. I don't have a whole ton to add to this conversation, but they rebranded their logo. It's red and gold, has CPL written in it instead of, it used to be Canadian Premier League. Everybody kind of, calls it the CPL for short, so it kind of makes sense. And it has maple leaf in it. It's red, gold. It looks pretty nice, looks sleek, and I don't mean this in a disparaging way, it looks simple, which I think is good. And yeah, I think there was people that were out there clamoring like, oh my gosh, we need a new CPL logo. But I do think that it is nice to freshen it up, I suppose. But yeah, I think it's pretty nice to say the least. And then elsewhere in Canadian football, the League One sides League One leagues around Canada also rebranded theirs to match the CPL. So Ontario Premier League, British Columbia Premier League, Alberta Premier League, and Prairie's Premier League all kind of rebranded their logos to match the CPL's logo, just to kind of add that, I guess, umbrella, for lack of a better term, to the Canadian soccer landscape of this is kind of the logo universal for Canadian soccer. And yeah, like I said, I don't have a whole ton to add to the conversation. I'm not a business connoisseur of like, yeah, here's the benefits, the pros and the cons and all that stuff of a rebrand. But yeah, from just someone that watches the league, I think it looks nice. And then other Canadian soccer stories. These ones feel long overdue, to be honest with you. And in my head, I kind of just thought that they both had kind of already happened, but Julian de Guzman and Melissa Tancredi have both been named as Canadian Soccer Hall of Famers. I just thought that they had already happened, to be honest, but definitely deserved. I don't think that there would be anybody out there that has followed Canadian soccer going, really? These two? 100% deserved. Melissa Tancredi was always just so underrated with the women's national team. She did just so well, 27 goals as well, couple bronze medals at the Olympics. She wasn't on the gold. Yeah, she was on the gold medal team, but regardless, it's not like that's going to be the thing where it's like, yeah, I don't think Melissa Tancredi should have been there. Yeah, 100% she should have been there. Her partnership with Christine Sinclair was always just so good. Her hold-up play, the way that she just always found the right positions, the right pockets of space. And even though she was a striker, she was quite unselfish as well. Always kind of doing the dirty work, per se, on the field. And not always getting the spotlight or the acclaim, what have you, but definitely this acclaim is well-deserved. And as I said, I kind of just thought it had already happened, but that's just on me for just thinking that. But yeah, definitely one of the best that the women's side has ever seen. Honestly, you make the case for just women and men in general. So yeah, definitely well-deserved. And Julian de Guzman, another one of the best that the men's side, men or women, have seen. Captain the country on a number of occasions. He was just always class throughout his career, both at club and international level. You could make a case that prime Julian de Guzman is probably starting for this Canadian men's national team. Like, that's truly how good he was. Especially, it sucks that he kind of came up in a time where Canada's national team wasn't the best, but he definitely always made his mark on the field and in the program, of course. So really happy for both of these players. As I said, just super well deserved. And yeah, I don't have anything negative to say about either one of these two being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And if you do, I don't know why. But yeah, very, very, very cool to see them both inducted here. Moving into some transfer news, we're going to start off with some that we kind of discussed last week and see kind of where they're at right now. So firstly, starting off with Thiago Coimbra, formerly of Halifax. As I say formerly, that probably gives it away because it has been confirmed by the club, by the player, and even Fabrizio Romano tweeted about this one, so pretty cool there. He has officially moved to IFK Göteborg in the Swedish league. Sweden seemed to really like the CPL. We got Coimbra, De Bruyne, Sam Salter over there. Shoot. Keep on shopping in the CPL, I say. But yeah, as I kind of said last week, I think this is a very big move for him. Definitely well-deserved. He was the U21 Player of the Year last season in the CPL. Now getting some attention from the national team with Jesse Marsch after that Guatemala game. So yeah, I'm happy for him. And as I kind of said last week, never going to be upset when you see one of the CPL boys kind of go try their luck in Europe because one, you never know when that chance is going to come again. And two, it's, in my opinion, going to further your development and also your standing in that national team. As I had said last week, you got a taste of the national team. You got to believe as a competitor, as a player, he wants more of that, more consistent call-ups. And I think that a way to do that and get that is to be playing at higher levels and, just do well there. So hopefully he does do well. We're going to obviously keep tabs on him and keep talking about him when he's doing his thing. But yeah, really, really good move for him, I think. So we'll see how it all pans out, of course. But yeah, I think this is a very good move on his part. Another striker who was potentially on the move to a Ligue 1 club. That Ligue 1 club has been confirmed for Jason Russell-Rowe. As per Tom Bogart, it's looking like Toulouse FC is finalizing a deal for Canadian international Jason Russell-Rowe, of course, playing with the Columbus Crew. Apparently, fees are $2.5 million with add-ons and a sell-on clause. I think that's really good. He's wanted this European move, and his contract is up at the end of this year. Now, by the time this podcast goes up, it may be already official, so we'll have to wait and see. But as of recording this, the player and club have not confirmed it yet, but it is looking like it's being finalized, as Tom Bogart said. So, kind of as I just said for Coimbra, I like this move because, one, I think Russell-Rowe has heaps of potential, and two, another one who's had to taste that international play over the last couple of years, dating back to 2023, then in 2024 he gets called up, and now, of course, most recently in that Guatemala game gets called up, kind of given the reins in that game to be the striker, to be the guy, being the most senior striker in the squad at the ripe age of 23. But in all seriousness, he was the striker for us that game. Of course, grabbed that really nice goal too. So I like this move, as I said. If he does really well in Ligue 1 over the next 6 months, I genuinely do think that there could be a legit push for him to get onto that plane for the World Cup because he's going to be playing at a higher level. Could be, if he starts bagging goals and assists instantly, why would you keep him out, So I do think this is a really good move, and we've seen what the French League has done for some of our players, i.e. Jonathan David. So I don't mind this literally at all. I think that this could be a very good move for him. Looking at some other moves, Stefan Eustáquio. Doesn't look like that Celta Vigo move is happening that we kind of discussed last week. Apparently, as per some reports coming out of Portugal, MLS clubs are looking at him. And there was a quote, I wish I had screenshotted it, but there was a quote from Jesse Marsch where he said one of our guys could be looking at an MLS move. I guess we kind of now know who that is since it is looking like it could be Stefan Eustáquio. And as you know, if you're a listener of this podcast, I have nothing against MLS. I enjoy seeing our boys playing the MLS, thriving in the MLS, all that fun stuff. I do feel like this might be a bit of a step down for Eustáquio. I do understand he's not playing at Porto, which I still don't understand, if that makes sense. I don't understand why he's not playing, is my point. But regardless, I do just think he could have done a good job in, say, with a Celta Vigo in La Liga, or as I've always harped on, I think he screams Serie A. I think he could do so well in this Serie A. But I do also understand, a lot of things go into making this decision. So maybe it's guaranteed playtime. Maybe he wants to come home. Maybe, whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and speculate why he's going to, say, a Vancouver. But just kind of looking at it from going from Porto, I do kind of think that this is a little bit of a step down for him, especially because he is quality and has been playing in Portugal for so long. And as I will reiterate, I'm not one of those people that sits here going, oh, the MLS isn't good. The MLS isn't real. It's not real football. I'm not one of those people, but I do just think that it is a little bit of a step down from Porto. But if he does go get playtime, and if that is what he's after, then you can't fault him for wanting to play more, quite frankly. And he is a player that should be playing more. Another striker that we had talked about last week getting a move, Kyle Larin, Southampton. I didn't expect Southampton, I'll tell you that much. Apparently a lot of clubs were in for Kyle Larin across various leagues, France, Spain, England, and the MLS. A lot of leagues were in for him. That one comes per Matthew Shinetti and a few other reports as well. So yeah, I think Southampton, Southampton could be a good spot because it's in the English Championship, and a lot of our boys are doing very well in the English Championship. Kyle Larin, I feel like, as I kind of mentioned last week, this feels like a make or break 6 months for him because he really has not had a great season with Feyenoord. So if he really wants to get on that plane for the World Cup, he's, I think, really going to have a very good 6-month spell here with Southampton, show that he still has that quality, show that he can still bag goals, maybe grab a couple assists, what have you. But yeah, I think that this is a good move for him. It was, as I said last week, I think it was a necessary move for him to leave Feyenoord if he's not in the plans for next 6 months. He needs to play ahead of this World Cup if he wants to get into the World Cup squad. So we hope he does well. I am still a fan of Kyle Larin. I know that is an unpopular opinion, but I do still like Larin. I think he's still got some quality, something to offer this national team at the moment. So hopefully he can do well in Southampton. A couple other transfers in the Canadian footballing world. Ryan Raposo has re-signed with LAFC, making him another Canadian playing for LAFC, along with Jacob Schaffelberg and Mathieu Choinière. Of course, Ryan Raposo was there last season. He didn't play a whole ton, which I think kind of sucks because I actually do think that he is quite the quality player. But maybe this season it might be a little bit different. Who knows? But yeah, I'm just glad that he's re-signed. He now knows his club for the next year. I believe that the deal was also this year, next season, and then an option for the following. So not a bad deal to strike up there. And hey, playing with a couple other Canadian boys, can't really be mad at that, Jonathan Sirois, the goalkeeper, Canadian goalkeeper, CPL alum, and of course Montreal player at the moment, could be on his way to Dallas. Now, of course, there were reports earlier in the window that he could be going to Anderlecht. I suppose that that's just not happening anymore. If it ever was, who knows? All the transfer rumors that get thrown about this time of year. But regardless, if he's going to go to Dallas, if he's going to play, I don't really have an issue with it. The more, as I kind of always say, the more players playing, the better it is for the national team, the better it is for the program. So during the latter stages of last season, he kind of got relegated to Montreal's second choice goalkeeper. So if he's going to go on the move, I hope that it's to be a starter. I hope he's not just moving just to go be second choice somewhere else. I do think that, as I keep saying about a lot of these guys, I do think he's a quality player, and I think that he has shown that he can be a starter in the MLS. So I do hope that he does end up starting. I am a little bit disappointed not to see the Anderlecht move come through, but also don't know how legit those rumors were. But yeah, just you kind of always get excited when you hear a player going to Anderlecht, especially Canadian player. Of course, Saliba, best Saliba in world football, is playing there, so it could have been a nice little Canadian link-up as well. But you always get a little bit disappointed when a club like that is kind of kicking tires about one of your players, and then it doesn't end up happening. But Dallas is also not a bad place to go. Good club, good organization, the MLS. So I have no qualms there. And as I say, especially if he's going to go be the number one there. We are going to now spare a thought for Nico Seeger and those Celtic rumors, because it looks like those did not come to fruition. Thank you to everyone that got my hopes up about that. I appreciate it. But regardless, I do still think that we will see Seeger on the move in the next few months. So even though it didn't happen this window, I do think that it will happen probably after the World Cup. I can't imagine he's going to transfer before the World Cup. I think it'll be an after World Cup thing, especially if he has even a halfway decent tournament. I would imagine that clubs will... He's already on the radar of many clubs, so I think that even more clubs will kind of be going in for him after, like I said, even just a halfway decent World Cup, and I think he's going to do better than halfway decent at the World Cup. But yeah, kind of sucks that the Celtic one didn't come to fruition there, but hey, if he doesn't get Celtic and he gets even a better gig, then I guess it all worked out in the end. And there have been reports going around. This one's not super surprising, but Promise David and Union kind of seem to be of the agreement that following this season, he will be leaving Union. I don't think this is a shock to really anybody. Promise David has started scoring goals in Belgium and hasn't stopped since his arrival there. Of course, has been great for Union and is doing very, very well there over the last 2 seasons, helped them get a league title, of course. So I think that it's the natural progression for him, especially as we know some clubs have been kind of looking at him. So I think he's kind of the mindset of, hey, following this season, going to finish this season, then I think it'll be time to try my hand somewhere else, whether it be maybe England, France, Germany, wherever it may be. I do think that there is going to be a very lucky club out there to get Promise David. So yeah, this one, not really much of a shock here. And speaking of Promise David, we'll talk about his performance at the weekend. Grabbed his first assist of the season. So not only is he a goal scorer, he's a goal creator too. Elsewhere in Belgium, Anderlecht, best league in world football, plays there, of course, sitting 4th in the table, and Luc de Fruger's Dender sitting bottom of the table. And now with that being said, we will get into some more player news and how they did over this last week right now. All right, let's talk performances now. So starting this one off with a bit of a funny one. Thomas Muller and the Vancouver Whitecaps played in a friendly match where they lost 2-0. The story here, though, is that heavyweight boxer Alexander Usyk played in this game. I don't know if you may not be a boxing fan, but to me that's just very funny, because why? I didn't see maybe he's just completing, different training regimens. I have no idea. But I just thought this was really funny, really random, especially when the picture hit Instagram of Muller and Usyk just chilling together after the match. I just thought it was just so bizarre and just random. But yeah, regardless, the Whitecaps are now starting their preseason. They've been in Spain for the last little bit. I don't know where they're at right now, if they've left Spain and are elsewhere. But I do know that a couple weeks, maybe 2 weeks ago, they went off to Spain to do their preseason and whatnot. So yeah, really good for the Whitecaps that they've started their preseason, and just once again, very funny and bizarre that Usyk, the heavyweight boxer, ended up playing against them. But some less fun news for the Whitecaps. Ryan Gauld has underwent a surgery on his left knee and is expected to make a full return by April. So at least he's going to make his return by April. I do think that this sucks because they will now go about the first month-ish of the season without him, and we did see them last season have to go without him for a little bit, and we do know how crucial he is for the Whitecaps. So I do think that this is a bit of a blow to start off the season, Luckily, he's only going to expected to miss, knock on wood, the first month-ish. So that's not too bad. Could have been worse, I suppose. But yeah, hopefully it just gets him back healthy. The healthier he is for the season, I think the better that their chances are of maybe getting back to where they were last season. So him and Muller, I do think could be a very elite duo in the MLS. So hopefully we do get to see that in the MLS this season. But moving to Spain and Villarreal, our two boys that play there, Buchanan and Tani Oluwaseyi. Now, they had already been confirmed mathematically out of the Champions League going into last match day, but I will just say it now that they are out of the Champions League. It was not a good showing for Villarreal at all in the Champions League this season. They finished second last in the table on just 1 point. Not great, really. But, you know, in the league, they're faring a little bit better right now. Well, actually, a lot better. They're still in fourth with a game in hand as well, which is good, I think. Especially that game in hand could maybe see them move up to third. I think that would be very good. They're having very contrasting season between them in La Liga and them in Europe. So maybe that European form is just a European form thing, and it won't translate over to La Liga, hopefully, because we want to see Tani and Tej back in Champions League next season and maybe right some wrongs from this season because it was not a great campaign there. But yeah, over the weekend, they did draw 2-2 with Osasuna, and both Tani and Tejan came off the bench. Tej got about 15 minutes, and Tani got about the final 5 or 6. So not too bad. They've both been playing quite a bit recently, so it might have just been a rest thing, or maybe the coach was changing some tactics for the game. But yeah, they have both been playing quite a bit, so very good for them. Just kind of sucks about the whole Champions League thing. But regardless, we'll be positive and go, yes, they are still sitting fourth in La Liga with many points between them and fifth and not many points between them and third. So could see them climb the table even further. Moving into Italy. Big weekend for our Canadians in Italy. Ismaël Koné scored in a 3-1 win over Pisa. I think we need to have that conversation of if Ismaël Koné is our most informed midfielder at the moment. Now, I'll take out guys like Chouanier and Osorio because they're MLS players. MLS has not been in season, so we'll take them out. Nathan Saliba, best league in world football, has enjoyed a pretty good season with Anderlecht so far. Eustáquio, as we kind of mentioned, has not really played a whole ton this season. Nico Seeger, I think, has had a good season, but has been used at both right back and in the midfield. So is Ismaël Koné our most informed midfielder? He has had a stellar season for Sassuolo, and I feel like I always say that anytime I talk about Koné this season, but it's just true. He's looked mature, he's looked composed. You know, all those kind of worries that I expressed about him over the last couple months on the podcast about, you know, sometimes he's not the most consistent. We know that there's a player there, but we need to see it consistently. He has shown it consistently this season. He's been so good, and of course capping that little run off now with another goal this season. I do think that we are seeing the rebirth, the redemption of Ismaël Koné this season after last season wasn't the best. I don't fully think it was his fault last season. But regardless, we're seeing that, I guess, redemption arc of Ismaël Koné showing everybody, no. I still got loads of potential. I'm still getting better. I'm getting more consistent. He's growing in maturity. He's starting to develop in and around the box now, too, of being able to add some goals to his game. He always looks great on the ball. He always has looked very good on the ball. So, yeah, I think I'm not even sure it's a case. I think he just is our most informed midfielder at the moment, and that's not a bad thing heading into the World Cup if you're Ismaël Koné, because I think that this could be a very big tournament for Ismaël Koné. Elsewhere in Italy, Jonathan David, another one who's enjoying a little bit of a redemption right now. Another goal, another assist, and a 4-1 win over Parma. What more can be said about the Iceman at the moment? He's doing the bits right now. That missed penalty from a couple weeks ago seems to really have awoken him, because since then, it's been goal, assist, goal, assist, goal, assist. Like, okay, We love it. We love it. And I'm very happy because I've stuck behind Jonathan David during the hard start at Juventus. And I do think that there is still honestly another gear or two that he can hit with Juventus. For as good as he has been recently, I still don't even think that this is the best that he's got to give. I think that he still has another little bit to go to really be just on a different level. And that's not me disparaging what he's done, because he has been very good over this last month-ish spell. I think he's been very good, but I just think that there's so much quality in Jonathan David. He's not just an intelligent striker, he's an intelligent player. And I think if you pair those two things together and he keeps on growing in confidence and getting more comfortable in the Serie A, getting more comfortable with his teammates, I truly think that we could see him hit just another level of just goals, assists, and just overall play, because it's not just the goals and assists. It's his overall play has been very good and very improved recently with Juventus. So yeah, I really do think that this still isn't even the best Jonathan David that we're seeing. So really happy for him. He definitely deserves this after a lot of the early negativity, I guess is the best word to use, in and around some of the media outlets. So yeah, really happy for Jonathan David, really happy for Ismaël Koné, both of them having their own mini redemption arcs at the moment, and just showing that Canadians can make it work in the Serie A, apparently. We've already got a league winner right behind me here. And now we're seeing Jonathan David and Ismaël Koné continue that and just show that, yeah, the Canucks can ball in the Italian league. We will wrap this up talking a little bit about Alphonso Davies and our boys in the championship. So we'll talk about the championship first, because there's a couple guys to talk about here, as we well know. Firstly, Ali Ahmed last week, of course, the day that I recorded and had uploaded the podcast, ended up having the game of his life against the number one team in the league, Coventry. He grabbed a goal and an assist in a 2-1 win for Norwich over Coventry, and he just looked so good. This move, I know I was skeptical about this move at first, not because I didn't think he could hack it in the championship, not at all. I was just kind of worried that, going to Norwich, side that was battling relegation, was it the best move? It's looking like it was a very good move so far for Ali Ahmed. Already Norwich fans love him, serenading him with songs. He's racking up some goals and assists, and outside that, just looking very good too. And then, of course, to do this against the top team in the league is just a statement, in my opinion, for the type of player he is, how good he actually is. So, yeah, really happy for Ali Ahmed. And if he keeps this up, we could be seeing him starting at the World Cup, because I know those wing positions are pretty depthy at the moment. But if he keeps doing this, it's going to be hard to deny him a starting spot at the World Cup. Very, very good start to life for him so far at Norwich. Currently, they're outside the relegation zone. They've moved up now to 19th place in the league, so that's really good. Ali Ahmed effect, of course. And they're 4 points clear. Of course, I will caveat that with one of the teams in the relegation zone does have a game in hand, and if they do win said game, Norwich will be safe by just 1 point. But regardless, this was a huge moment for Ali Ahmed and for Norwich too, in their hopes to want to stay up and then build on that going into next season. So yeah, really happy for Ali Ahmed and Norwich. Elsewhere in the championship, Daniel Jebbison started for Preston North End in a draw over the weekend with Ipswich. Apparently, he looked quite good. I can't say I watched the game. I did see some of his highlights. He did look pretty good. He's looking very good in the championship at the moment. One of those other strikers for us that feels like he might be able to make that World Cup squad. He has had a pretty good season with Preston, so it could definitely happen for him. Of course, didn't score on this day, so I don't have that to report on for you. But right now, Preston did, with that result, move up in the table. They're currently sitting 8th on 44 points, just 3 points outside of the playoff promotion spots. So not the worst place to be in January. Definitely still a lot of room to gain points, gain ground, and get into those promotion playoff spots. So hopefully for his sake and their sake, that does in fact happen. And then, of course, Hull City with a huge result over the weekend as Liam Miller started the game over Blackburn Rovers. Didn't finish it, which I understand. They're definitely still managing his minutes. But the Liam Miller Hive, still buzzing, as we always are. Because now Hull are sitting in third in the championship. And sorry, as I'm just like seeing how many points are in between them. So they're sitting in third right now with a game in hand on Middlesbrough, who sit in second, 5 points ahead of them. So if they do win their game in hand, only 2 points separating them in Middlesbrough. Once again, not the worst place to be in when you're looking at where we are at in the season and in January, pushing for those promotion playoffs. Really, really hope to see Hull get that promotion spot, automatic promotion, preferably, just so that they're done and dusted. They don't have to worry about the playoffs. Me and the Hive, we can't do a playoff run. I'm sorry, we just can't. Going to be way too stressful. Can't do it. Get this sorted in the regular, calendar with the 1 or 2 spot, please, Hull. I can't do a playoff run for Liam Miller. But yeah, Hull looking very good, sitting third at the moment. And we'll wrap this up by talking about Canada's gem, our boy, Alphonso Davies. Big game for him over the weekend against Hamburg. Huge moment for him in the game as well. I'm sure if you are on Canadian football Twitter, you definitely saw this play from him where open net, it's 2-2 at the moment. Hamburg caught them on the counter, bang, shot. Alphonso Davies cleared it off the line. It's just what he does. Hasn't missed a beat now, being in the starting 11 for the last 2 games, looking just very good right off the bat, coming back from this ACL injury, which is, in my opinion, a good sign for him and for the Canadian men's national team. So, yeah, really happy for Alphonso Davies as well here. That's a huge play. Bayern Munich would go on to win 3-2 as well, so making that play even bigger when you think about it. And I still just... If you are one of those people that does think that Alphonso Davies should be our left winger at the World Cup, I'm not going to sit here and berate you. I'm just going to sit here and go, we don't have another player that can do what Alphonso Davies can do from the left back position. He can still go forward, still track back, still defend one-on-one, create chances. I think that he's just the complete package as a fullback, and I don't know why we would want to ruin that going into a World Cup where we're going to need our best players playing in their best positions to be their most effective. That's why I'm on the side of Alphonso Davies needs to be our left back. I do understand people are big fans of Richie Laryea playing at left back, and I do think it is harsh on Laryea to be, have deputized so well for Alphonso Davies. But Alphonso Davies, he's just a different level than pretty much every other player in the world. It's not even a thing against, we just don't have quality players. We do have quality players. But when you have, in my opinion, the best player in the world at his position, you play him in his best position, and his best position is left back. So Alphonso Davies really helping the case for playing left back at the World Cup with his performance over the weekend with Hamburg, especially with that big, big play. And Bayern Munich, of course, to no surprise from anyone, are sitting top of the table. So that's solid. But yeah, with all this being said, that will wrap up this episode of Maple Footy. I do hope that you enjoyed it. Follow us. I link it down in the description now. I should have been doing that all along. But yeah, follow us on Instagram. I've been posting a lot of clips from the podcast on there, which hopefully, if you do follow, you've been enjoying. You can follow us there. If you are just a fan of the audio only, there's also a link for that too. So if you want to listen on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you listen to your podcast, you can definitely do that over on those platforms. But yeah, outside of all that, I do hope you enjoyed. Thank you for listening or watching. And until next time, cheers, everyone.
And that was your Maple Footy podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Check my socials for any and all future updates. Remember to support Canadian football, be kind, and until next time, live, laugh, little.